Yeah, you're shedding. What are you shedding? Well,
We
good
got,
evening, everybody. Hey, Swamp, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, AR? Can you
I'm
hear me?
doing well. We're live, and we are here with the entire family in Boise, Idaho. And for all of you joining, we have a little bit of a surprise guest tonight to join Miss Swamp Rose and I for a minute. If you want to say hello, what up?
You
Not sure
guys
everybody
know who
knows who
that's,
you are.
everybody knows who the superstar guest is.
Yeah, he just showed up out of the blue. I mean, I can't believe we all just showed up in Boise at the same time. I remember. Yeah, he wanted to come hang out with the dogs. And of course, Jan is here also in the background. She'll step in here soon, everybody, because I know many people love the wife, Miss Jennifer. So she'll join us here in a little while as well. What's new in your neck of the woods there, Miss Swamp Rose?
Not much. I mean, I've been just trying to go over all the documents, and I'm getting ready for tomorrow's hearing because what I think is really interesting from my perspective is that we knew that Cyray was going to be on call, like Zoom call, but that was before his affidavit came out. And I'm just
Mhm.
wondering, is there going to be is the judge going to have new insights that he's going to want to ask Cyray tomorrow? That's what's on the top of my mind tonight.
It would be interesting, but I highly doubt it. I think what he would do is set aside a time and schedule another hearing to meet directly with Cyray and give him the ability to take the stand and also allow the prosecution the opportunity to prepare a cross-examination.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, this is really spur of the moment that, I mean, it literally tomorrow is the hearings and Twiddlestick and I are gonna be down at that courthouse bright and early. It'll still be dark, I think. Yeah, I think it'll still be dark over here. And Twiz says that we're gonna put up a hell of a show for everybody to see.
Oh, we're so lucky to be getting your perspective.
It's gonna be fun. I think it'll be very interesting, to get a take not only from myself and from Twizzlestick, but then Jen's opinion as well. And then you're gonna be able to jump in and share yours. And so it's gonna be a widespread opinionated discussion. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Oh, it's going to add so much to the conversation tomorrow on top of covering the hearings. I cannot wait and also
Oh,
just to get a feel of like what's going on in the atmosphere in Boise, what the locals are thinking about the press coverage and the judge itself and the courthouse and the system. I mean, just so many questions I can think of for the locals that I'm just so interested in. I can't wait to hear what you gather for information on the streets. I'm sure
yeah,
everyone else you
I
and
know I'm gonna go put my feelers out. We're gonna venture around just to get the temperature, like I said, of what Boise's like about the case. And, I know Twizzlestick has some people showing up with him that'll be joining at the courthouse. And I've had many people reach out to me that will also be in attendance. So it's gonna be a good crowd. A lot of information will come from this and a lot of people's feelings and emotions and everything will be shared. Opinions and it's gonna be fun. My plan is literally to, I think we'll stream the court portion of it live on the channel, and then every break or every opportunity I'm able to step out and speak from the courtroom, I'll be able to come out, go live straight onto the channel and be able to share feedback of what's happening and then during lunch break and everything, I'm sure we'll come out and share even more info and just give you a boots on the ground in the courtroom feel for everything.
Oh, good. Because I was wondering if you were going to be streaming the proceedings as well, or if you were just going to be outside covering it live. But it's good to know you're going to have both things going on the channel.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to film while in the courtroom, and I won't be able to take pictures or anything of that nature. So I feel as though the best route to do that is to have it live streaming, and then as we're able to step out, we can jump on live right away, and that way it's just a free flowing show, and everybody can follow. And then obviously we know there's many creators that are going to be working, the streets tomorrow and working it. So people will want to bounce around. But I definitely recommend, don't forget to jump back over here for intermittent, right on the spot live coverage as well. I've heard that they're gonna close down some of the hearings from public too, right? Yeah, moving forward, even in the discussion that I just recently had with the court, because let me kind of let everybody know is not only I, but others have spoken directly to the court, and this is potentially going to be a packed house. And it could be very hard to get into the courtroom. And then they've made it quite clear that moving forward that many of these hearings are going to go dark without allowing people into the courtroom. So it's going to be interesting to see moving forward how it transitions from this hearing, these next 2 days, moving forward into more.
Now, have you made plans to meet up with any other YouTube creators that we all, are familiar with here in the true crime community?
I know that some of them are on their way in now. Obviously, Twiz and I got into town today. I stayed in Salt Lake City last night, where Jen and I went live. I know of a good handful of people that are going to be here, and I'm scheduled to meet with many people starting tomorrow after the hearing into Thursday, and then potentially some on Friday as well, as we're getting ready to head on back. We'll be able to meet with others, and hopefully we get to bring some of them on and get their feedback and their feelings, and also be able to showcase the shaking of hands and solitary, that we're all working together.
Another question I had for you is you said you were gonna. Oh, I'm sorry. Was somebody else gonna talk?
No, go on. No, go ahead.
And so, like, you said you were gonna go visit the Boise penitentiary where Bryan Kohberger is being housed. What day are you planning to do that, or was that today?
Well, I'm going to do it again, but I did a live drive today, taking the exact route that Bryan Kohberger will take from the actual courthouse. When he leaves the court, Jen and I made the drive from the court to the jail. So you're going to see the exact route, and then also you'll be able to see the jail that he's been housed in at this very moment. And we showed the entrance that he will take to get into the bottom of the court tomorrow morning. And we obviously broadcasted from right in front of Ada County Courthouse and did a video there. So anybody that has been able to see that, Swamp, it's actually on the channel. I just uploaded it up. That's one of hopefully many to come.
Oh, I'd love if you even played it. Would love to see it right now, even if you want. I don't know if you'd want to play it, but
let me see if I'm able to find it here. Give me one sec.
I know my audience would be really interested in seeing that. And by the way, nice to see everyone tonight. Welcome mods, welcome chat, welcome viewers, subs, members. It's so nice to see everyone.
I'm sorry. I'm so like caught up in the moment and excited to be out here that I forgot to see everyone myself, and I apologize about that. So it is great to see everybody. Swamp. It's great to see everybody. And I'm looking for that video. I just have to switch over from Jen's channel to mine.
Well, if you want me to fill some time and just talk for a minute, I'll just talk about what I was kind of researching today, if you don't mind.
Yep, go ahead.
So, like, one of the motions in Lemony is regarding expert, exact wording here. It's regarding expert witnesses, exact wording here, because I have the document right here in front of me. I'm going to turn on my camera in a second, you guys. I'm sorry. So this is the vague and undisclosed expert testimony. And this is super interesting. And they're going to address all of this tomorrow. So basically, this is like maybe like a 16-page document. And like, I would say like 10 or 12 of these pages are regarding different witnesses and what they're allowed to say and what they're not allowed to say.
I should know.
But anyway, this is one that I'm really interested in here. And particularly what I think is fascinating is they claim in here that there is a 7-minute time gap where Bryan Kohberger is in Washington from like 2:47 to 2:54, where the state claims this time gap is exculpatory. And I'm just really interested to see if that's going to be addressed today in court, along with several other things like basically saying that the cast report that was used wasn't peer reviewed, just a ton of things. Basically, what I'm saying is a lot of this document, the majority of this document is dedicated to Nick Valens, but it addresses other things too. It's really interesting. I can't wait to hear if they address this specific document. Just, let's see. I think the boys are still adjusting the camera, so I'm just going to pull this up and see if I can read you anything off of here that I think you'd like to read. Okay, so this is really interesting. The reality and gravity of 68 terabytes of information cannot be overstated. Mr. Kohberger's Capital Defense team has spent over 2 years devouring as much data as possible. The team has not completed review. I repeat, the team has not repeated review. His team does not have hundreds of people to locate and talk about various pieces of information contained within the discovery. The state does. And Mr. Kohberger is protected by the U.S. Constitution and the Constitution of Idaho. He has the right to a fair trial and effective assistant counsel to confront evidence against him. And I will stop and turn it back over to AR.
You want to actually say it?
So I'm working on doing this. I'm gonna hit play, okay? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all.
All right. I think it's gonna go through the intro, and I'm sorry, but should be. No. Now it's sharing the screen. So there we go. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Swamp?
Hey everybody, it's AR Hayes, Convict's Thoughts. Got the little family with Xander and Jen out here with me. We're in front of Ada County Courthouse. This is home of the motion of limine hearings tomorrow for Bryan Kohberger. Right in downtown center of Boise, Idaho. Beautiful day today. Absolutely gorgeous. But I'll tell you what, this courthouse tomorrow is going to be popping, as this is one of the biggest.
Is it scratchy on your side, Swamp? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. I think Swamp's on mute. And
Oh yeah, I'm here.
We've realized it's really scratchy, Swamp. So if they actually go to my channel, it's not at all scratchy like that. I'm using a laptop that I think is struggling with the connection here to be able to play that. So the link should be posted for anybody that wants to watch that. Or are you able to share it on your side, Kiki?
Absolutely, I can do that. Absolutely.
Let's see if your side is better than mine.
Okay, let me pull that up. Bear with me.
I mean, I just don't know if it's my side or if it's all sides, but
I gotta log out of my alt account. Hold on. It's my other channel, Capri, but I'm just kidding. Hold on. That was a
And I want to say thank you, Patty Cakes. Thank you for the 1999. That is very appreciated. Both Swamp and I and everybody are very thankful for you. And we work very hard. Hopefully, everybody understands that we do this because we love to do it. We also love our community. And Veronica, it's great to see you, Miss Gonzalez. My mouth isn't working very well today, ladies and gentlemen. So
I'm surprised that it messes with the audio coming out. Wow.
yeah, I'm not sure why it's doing that. I mean, it's we're looking into the audio for the video, ladies and gentlemen, but there is also a link. So for some reason, it's able to take my voice. Swamp, is that you trying to share it there?
yes.
Okay, let me see if that comes up. And then I think it's on your side, right? To where you'll have to
Yeah,
maneuver.
let me open it up.
Let me try muting myself to see if that helps.
Okay. Down. I don't want to blast myself with YouTube. Not my life story. Sorry.
No, my whole intro. I mean, if you want to skip the intro. And thank you, Happy Hours. I truly appreciate that. Tomorrow I'm going to look a little bit better, ladies and gentlemen, because I've been told I need to wear a suit tomorrow. So
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was pausing it because I couldn't hear you.
Well, that probably means somebody else could. I just wanted to thank Happy Hours. I appreciate her for commenting on the way I look today. Just let everybody know tomorrow I'll be in one suit, and the day after that I'll be in a different colored suit. So you'll be able to see me a little more spiffy than I normally am.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you look great, and we can't wait to see you in a suit. And Twiz, are you going to be in a suit?
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad we could clear that.
Here
Here we go.
Plaid, you know how I do. I've got my outfit for court. That's what I gotta show them now.
I can't understand what you guys are saying. I'm sorry.
Maybe I'm not supposed to have the mic.
What?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. There. Thank you.
I'm gonna wear flip flops and plaid
Oh my
like
God.
I always do.
Okay.
We're going to be.
I don't think they're going to let you in.
We're going to be quite the combination.
They let me in the time, so apparently they can't stop you. I guess I don't know. It's what I'm told. Whenever you want.
They can't.
Actually, that's not true. First hearing, maybe the second hearing, for jeans and shoes, and it was terrible.
No.
And I'm like, you have to dress up. But then somebody told me you can wear whatever you want. So I'm like, what flops it is?
Well, I mean, as long as you have a button-up shirt and you're not wearing like a graphic tee, I think it'll be okay. But
Yeah, I would like never. I can say that. I never wear shirt I want to wear.
We're not doing it.
all right, should I press play?
Yep.
Here we go. This is exciting.
Hey everybody, it's AR Hayes, Convict's Thoughts. Got the little family with Xander and Jen out here with me. We're in front of Ada County Courthouse. This is home of the motion of limine hearings tomorrow for Bryan Kohberger. Right in downtown center of Boise, Idaho. Beautiful day today. Absolutely gorgeous. But I'll tell you what, this courthouse tomorrow is going to be popping, as this is one of the biggest hearings, not only for Bryan Kohberger, but it could potentially be one of the biggest hearings this courthouse has ever seen. Bryan Kohberger's case, quadruple homicide. 4 college students lost their lives in a tragedy, Latah County, Moscow, Idaho. Bryan Kohberger won his motion to move his trial to right here, this beautiful courthouse in Ada County. A jury will be seated just in the next couple of months. But first, we have to find out exactly what evidence is going to be excluded from the upcoming trial. So tomorrow, April 9th, and possibly the 10th, if necessary, in this very courthouse, we are going to have Ann Taylor and the defense team for Bryan Kohberger battling it out with Bill Thompson, Jeff Nye, Ashley Jennings, and others of the prosecution, as the motions of limine have become a heated back and forth, including an on standby Mr. Cy Ray. Now, of course, Mr. Cy Ray most likely won't even be in this courtroom tomorrow, but he's on standby via Zoom just in case Judge Hippler allows him to testify in regards to the affidavit. And remember, it's an extremely important affidavit. He accused the prosecution pretty much of committing and conspiring in a conspiracy in hiding of evidence against Bryan Kohberger in the AT&T records. Tomorrow, we're going to learn more as those motions will be argued, as well as many others. The IGG tip only. We're going to find out whether or not Judge Hippler will allow Bryan Kohberger's own family to sit with him in the courtroom, or if they're going to be excluded because the prosecution has made the statement they may call them to the stand as witnesses against their own son, Bryan Kohberger. There's so much that's going to happen right here, and I just hope that you can join me live tomorrow, as I'll be in this very courtroom watching these hearings. And at every break, every chance I get, I'll be coming out here to be with all of you to share what I've seen happening in that courthouse. Now, what I'd like to do is, one, we're going to take an adventure over to where Bryan Kohberger will be escorted via a van into this very courthouse in the back route. I will show you the entrance that Bryan Kohberger will be making tomorrow. And then I think what we'll do is we'll take a little drive as we drive from this courthouse over to the Ada County Jail, showing you the very route that Bryan Kohberger with his transport team will be moved back to the jail after the hearings. Again, I appreciate you joining me. Here in a minute, I'm going to show you exactly where Bryan Kohberger will be making his entrance into the Ada County Courthouse. Early in the morning on April 9th, Bryan Kohberger will make his entrance via van transport, probably escorted by 2 or 3 police cruisers. He will enter right here at these very gates and make his descent within that van right down this path. And let me tell you, when you're riding in that van and you're shackled and you're cuffed, your heart is beating, because the minute that you come down this little ramp and you enter into that door and it closes behind you, you now know your hands are tied and you're stuck waiting for your honorable judge's decisions. And tomorrow, Bryan Kohberger, in the motions of limine, has a lot on the line. And he'll arrive and be locked within that door by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning at the Ada County Courthouse. Again, A.R. Hayes, give us a few minutes and we're going to make the trek from the Ada County Courthouse back to the actual jail where Bryan Kohberger's housed today, to give you the feel of the ride from court to jail. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have now left out of the Ada County Courthouse. And as I told you, we're going to make the trek as if we are Bryan Kohberger in the transport van on our way back from Ada County Courthouse to the Ada County Jail. This is the very route that he would be taking. So I'm going to let you enjoy it in peace and quiet, because this is the way a prisoner rides in the transport van, quietly.
And there will be volume again, Swamp. Don't worry.
So, okay, I'm unmuted. I was just gonna say it's a huge courthouse. And
Yeah,
oh, I'm sorry, pardon me.
it's okay. It's pretty good size. That's definitely for sure. It's pretty good size. I mean, Arizona's is much bigger, but for Idaho, I would say that's a pretty good size courthouse. This was our trip, and because it started to take so long, like right now I'm quiet, I'm giving everybody the peace, but I have to start talking again because really while we're making the drive, it gets kind of boring, and of course the traffic and everything. But this is what Bryan Kohberger tomorrow, when he leaves the courthouse, this is what he will be enduring. It will be the same traffic, same route.
That's really interesting. Now, is this city like traditionally like a blue or a red city? I'm just curious in terms of like their sentiments with like DP and stuff like that.
It used to be red.
Supposedly
Yeah.
it's supposed to be red, but I think there are some blue areas of it. I do believe there is some blue within it, but yeah, actually, design rhythm. Thank you. Boise is very blue. So
Oh, thank
I
you.
guess recently, I'm glad somebody knows, because here I was fumbling my words trying to figure it out. Google doesn't work fast enough.
I'm not surprised. I think like most big cities are nowadays.
I was actually surprised with how many people Swamp that reach out that are in and around this area that obviously are following the case and following us as content creators. And I guess it just doesn't hit you until they start reaching out. You learn how many people are from around the area.
I mean, like politically, the reason I ask, I had heard that the only like blue count, or I might be wrong on this. So sorry if I missed the mistake. The only blue county was Lathrop. But like you said, all urban areas tend to lean a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, so
And
many
for people's knowledge, tomorrow the court hearing starts at it would
Just
be
so
noon.
that everybody knows, this would be about the exact
Talking.
time Bryan Kohberger would be leaving the courthouse, as they would most likely end his motion in limine hearings between 4 and 4:30 to allow him to be downstairs, placed into a waiting cell for his transport, as the court and all of its employees would be going home at 5 p.m. and he would wait for his transport to leave between 5:15 and 5:45 to head back to the jail. This is typical when an inmate comes from the jail to the courthouse for a hearing of this nature. They will be kept downstairs till after 5 p.m. and the court employees go home. Even if court ends early, in most cases, the inmate would be held downstairs. Now, Bryan Kohberger would be transported on his own to and from the Ada County Jail because he is a capital inmate, meaning death penalty eligible inmate. So he would actually have his own van and ride to and from the courthouse. They don't mix non-capital crimes with capital crimes, meaning death penalty inmates do not ride to and from court, especially when it's such extreme, danger to him, as he's going to be heavily protected to and from the courtroom. So in an instant like this, where you're going to be in traffic this heavy, he will have a police presence not only in front of his van, but also behind his van, most likely 3 cars, 1 in front, 2 behind, and then he will be in a completely dark windowed, bulletproof van, shackled and locked within a cage in the back of that van. But he will be protected. There won't be any craziness on April 9th or 10th where somebody will try to hijack and get Bryan Kohberger set free via the means of taking out the van. As you can see, though, this trip does have pretty substantial traffic. That's why they typically bring the inmate in the morning. When you have a 9 a.m. court date, they can bring you as early as 5 a.m. till about 7 a.m., and they will hold you downstairs in a holding waiting cell until your court appearance happens. It's a long wait, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very, very long wait.
We got 7 minutes.
So far in traffic, we've driven about 7 minutes. And the driver, Miss Jennifer, has stated that maps states we have an additional 7 minutes to get there. So without traffic, this is probably around a 10-minute drive. With traffic, it could be upwards of 20, 25 minutes.
What time of day is this, AR? Right now?
Very pretty scenery here in Boise, we've noticed.
This is 5 p.m.
Lots of green grass,
Okay.
big tall trees. It's quite the difference between Boise, Idaho, and Las Vegas, Nevada, coming from the desert that is lacking of water to a very nice green and lushy Boise, Idaho, with the green, full trees. It's an overcast day today. We were a little surprised when we got here. It's supposed to clear up. Today's probably about 60, 65 degrees. So it's quite beautiful, actually. It's very nice. It's a difference between what we've been seeing in Nevada, where we've already hit temperatures of 85, almost 90 degrees. And we never seem to get any rain, even though we had a couple of days worth of rain last month. We can go about another year before we see it again, and it seems as though Boise has a nice little moisture in the air type feel. Makes it a little more pleasant while we're here. Traffic isn't all that pleasant right now, though.
We literally are trying to get to the very next exit.
Yeah, Jen says we're literally one exit away.
2 hours.
We feel like we're still probably 10 minutes away from that exit. To us, this is not a big city. We're used to living in much bigger cities than this, but this traffic is seeming to be quite like a big city. I think it's because in this area, which is downtown Boise, there is quite a bit of construction going on as we speak. So on the way over to the courthouse, we literally had to take a couple of detours that made it seem like a much longer drive than it really was. But maybe Bryan Kohberger tomorrow, he'll enjoy it because he'll be out of his cell and get to enjoy a little bit of a distance from that jail, a little bit of a quiet peace as he makes the drive back and forth to the courts. I myself never truly enjoyed them because I wasn't a fan of being shackled around the feet, the waist, or the hands. And typically, when I was moved back and forth between the courts, we had 3 to 5 other inmates with us, that they themselves would be shackled, and then we would all be shackled together. And it just seemed like sometimes inmates don't have very good hygiene techniques, meaning that they may have chosen to not shower this week. But Bryan Kohberger, having the opportunity to ride by himself, the only person he could smell if something was afoul, he could blame himself. But hopefully he does a little better job of the hygiene, taking care of himself. From what we understand, he's a little OCD, tends to wash his hands quite a bit. So hopefully he does the same when he gets into the shower. Washes a little more than his hands, maybe his hair, maybe his arms, who knows. Jen laughs. She hasn't been in jail like I have. She doesn't understand. There are some people that are incarcerated that just don't feel like they need to get into the water. Maybe they've got a water intimidation factor. They just find ways to avoid the soap in the water. And hopefully, I think we're actually getting off on our exit here. The quicker we get there, ladies and gentlemen, the less of me you have to hear. So, but just remember, just a quick update, we are on the path that Mr. Bryan Kohberger, the defendant in the Idaho 4 case, will be taking in his transport to return to the Ada County Jail tomorrow after court. This is the very route that he would most likely be taking. You know, in conversating with all of you, but also my wife, I actually wonder, do you think they would actually block off some of these lights to let him get through quicker?
No.
I do remember in Phoenix when Jody Arias was going to and from court, they actually blocked these lights with motorcycle cops and allowed them to go through the lights so that they didn't have to stop at the lights because she was deemed such a security risk. But that was because literally crowds of thousands of people were gathered around that courthouse waiting for her conviction. So,
Well, that's the actual trial. Maybe for the trial they might do that, but not for this. This is just a limine hearing. It's not as big of a ordeal.
that's probably true. That's probably a good point. So during the trial, I have a gut feeling that they're going to take various different routes to try to duck and dodge and hide which route they're taking Bryan Kohberger on. But I believe that Jen is most likely very right that during the motion to eliminate, they're just going to try to cruise and just get him back to the courthouse under a transport with protective transport as well. They would never do this without an actual protective transport, but it's a very interesting route, I must say. I feel like we just got off this highway and Jen's acting like we're going to get back on it, but
It's a frontage street.
it's a frontage street. Hopefully, it's
Little bit of a backseat driver, AR. I'm just kidding.
Just following the map.
That's probably a good idea, considering neither one of us know exactly where we are. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is very rare. Let me tell you, it's very, very rare that you are ever going to catch me driving anywhere near. Oh boy, we're about ready to pull in too. So I just got a little more nervous, ladies and gentlemen. Just a tad bit more nervous as we are pulling in to the Ada County Jail. And right here, dead in front of us, this would be the gates Bryan Kohberger will exit and enter to get in and out of the jail. And this is Ada County Jail. This is where Bryan Kohberger and many other inmates, it's not just Bryan Kohberger, but many other inmates are being housed.
You want me to do a loop?
Go left. That's misdemeanor probation, pretrial services, alternative sentencing. And here are some of the jail blocks over here behind the barbed wire fencing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another entrance and exit for ambulances. When you're an inmate at the jail, you sure would rather not know that an ambulance is having to come. But so everybody can see, this is your Ada County jail. It's actually quite large. It is much bigger than what most people expect it to be. This is actually a nicer outside look to a jail than one I've ever been in. Maricopa County Jail is not at all as nice looking as this one. This jail houses a couple of thousand of inmates at a time. And it does actually also have a segregation death penalty unit here. But from what I understand, Bryan Kohberger is not being held in that unit. He is actually in the medical unit. But just one quick scan, because you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to say it, but A.R. Hayes doesn't hang around jails too often. So this is your Ada County Jail. That was the trip that Bryan Kohberger will make to get here. And now I'm going to sign off because I've got a live coming up very soon. And I have another man, Mr. Twizzlestick, many of you know, is messaging me. So I'm going to get back with him. I'm going to let all of you go. We're going to put together this video. We'll see you later tonight live. Appreciate all of you. A.R. Hayes and family signing out from Ada County in Boise, Idaho.
Hey. Are you on mute, Kiki?
Of course.
You're on mute.
Wow, thank you so much. Like, I'm going to be using that B-roll footage for videos for so long. That was the best like shot of the Ada County prison I've ever seen. And it was so interesting seeing like exactly where he's going to be going in the courthouse and everything. And I don't know, I'd love to hear, you guys don't think that they're going to like block off some of those street lights and stuff when
During trial. Yeah, during trial, I think they're absolutely going to have more blocks, especially on that main street. A lot of people need to realize that that's really main downtown Boise, which I obviously am not real familiar with, but they have so much construction going on right now in that area. It's actually pretty difficult to navigate around. There's a lot of construction and building and new buildings going up, and that's kind of why it looks so desolate.
And a bunch of one-ways crisscrossing.
Yeah, there's one-way route. I mean, it's if you're not from here, it's interesting. And then also the parking is definitely interesting as well. We were lucky that you get some time for free, and then it's rather cheap. It's only an hour for an hour. So I believe they got a certain amount they charge for the whole day, which I'll find out tomorrow, whatever that might be. But you know, it's definitely a different feel. Like I'm watching it now as we watch it on video, and it's a different feel when you're driving it compared to where, you know, you're literally watching it. And traffic is stop and go. It's slow.
Mm.
And you're really just kind of trying to battle not only merging cars and construction, but people walking. I think the university is near there too. It's got to be somewhere. Yeah, I think Boise State's somewhere near there as well. But I would have to look at that one again. I'll be down to that area more, obviously, tomorrow with the hearings. And kind of my plan during the breaks is to do more on foot walking to give better visuals and different things on foot and give you kind of an idea of how tightly compacted everything in that area is.
So like at the end of that video, you were saying Bryan Kohberger is being housed in the medical unit. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, I
Could-
mean, because of the defense bringing in the experts that they have, both the, the evaluations that they're doing on the autistic spectrum and also the different counselors and people that have been assessing them. The best way to do that is they actually move you over to the medical unit. It's not because you're receiving treatments or I don't know if he is receiving treatments. I don't know. But that's where they do evaluations. It's much easier if you're housed in that part of the jail to be able to move you into the different places of the medical unit rather than having to walk you from the general population or from even the segregation unit. So,
So you think they're still doing evaluations of him for his placement within the prison assessments?
they're doing evaluations, both the state and the defense, in regards to the autistic spectrum for the mitigating circumstances that have to be done when it comes to the sentencing protocols. But also, a lot of people are, of course, coming out saying this can be utilized in his defense to try to beat this or whatever it might be. And that's not the case at all. These things have to be done. And when they find something like this, then the prosecution also has the opportunity to bring in their medical teams to diagnose as well. And that's potentially what's happening right now, because it is going to be a battle in regards to whether the death penalty will get removed from the table.
I see. So this is I see an interesting comment. Angel D says, didn't the defense refuse an independent assessment? Oh, please don't hide. And I don't know. I think it's just every inmate gets a medical assessment when they get into prison. They don't take any of your personal records either. So like, I think the most breathtaking example, oh my gosh, that's a good shot.
They become buddies.
Banner's made a new friend.
Oh, the love,
Sorry, I interrupted.
the love will happening in the living room.
It's good to see you, Jen, too. I'm glad you're in the live streams more. Your hair
Good
looks
to
good.
see you all. So I know I work a lot, so it's hard for me to get on.
Yeah.
And I apologize for cutting you off, but if you want to please enlighten us with what you were saying again about the medical and the facilities.
Yeah, I think that this is a really good time to bring up an example that AR has brought up. Like, so if you go when you go into incarceration, like even if you have a known medical problem, I'm going to use, sorry, AR, I'll use you as an example. AR is a type 1 diabetic, so he's used insulin his whole life. So it's a well-diagnosed thing. He has it controlled, whatever. Anyone, I mean, diabetes is so common. We all know somebody who is insulin dependent in our lives. And when he entered into the system, they wouldn't give him any insulin. And when they did give him, it was their decided dose, not a doctor's dose or his standard dose. It was their decided dose, and it was quite a small amount of insulin, and it was only administered twice a day. And for anyone who knows anything about having your diabetes under control, like it's breathtaking to even think of it. It's breathtaking to even think of somebody without like a constant, nowadays, like a constant, diabetic monitor on. But just as an example, even in AR's case, not talking about autism or any other, just a totally like provable medical condition that is no question and no way to abuse. He still had to get assessed before even being treated for that pre-existing condition, which I think is cruel and unusual punishment. But that's me.
Yeah, when I got, into the jail facility, each time different places handled it differently. But in Maricopa County, Arizona, I went almost 4 days without any even assessment for my diabetes. And then once I made it through the initial preliminary, and I got moved to the actual jail I was going to be at. It was in the transitional to begin with, the intake. And then when I finally made it to my cell block is when I got started working with the nurse. So for a type 1 diabetic that averages over 200 units of insulin a day, typically taking it 5 to 6 times a day and still running an A1C so high it knocks doctors off of their chairs. I didn't get insulin probably for 5 to 6 days, and they gave me a small dosage till they could confirm on the streets that I actually was diabetic, even though every time they were checking my blood sugar level, it just read high, high, high. It would never even give them a number. It just said high, which means immediate transfer to the hospital in most cases. And they would just laugh it off, give me an orange juice and say, don't drink it all because it may kill you.
Good God in heaven. You're lucky you didn't go blind. That's all I have to say.
Well, I think I'm there now.
Well, that's getting fixed. That's getting
Yeah,
fixed.
we're working on it. We're working on it. So, but and that's the thing. Not only do you deal with that within the jail, but then when you're actually sentenced and you have to go to the penitentiary, it's a whole nother ball game because the penitentiary does their very own assessments and everything that they want to do, and they're totally separate from everybody else. So then it's just it's a mess. It's a real mess. So right now it's good that Bryan Kohberger has his defense team literally doing the mitigating work that they have to do. Like this has to be done, and they're doing it appropriately and by the book, and that's forcing the hand. Now the prosecution has to acknowledge that. And that's why they're pressuring the defense to get those experts to come in with more information, more documentation, more evaluations, which is fine. The defense is going to have that. It's all going to come into play. But what's also going to come into play is the prosecution is going to have their evaluations done because they, on the opposite side of mitigating circumstances, they have to come in with the aggravation factor that could support a death penalty sentence. So you got aggravating factors in the prosecution, you got mitigating on the defense, and that all comes together. And Judge Hippler then has to make a decision based on all of that. So
on the subject of death penalty, I had another question that kind of arose during your transport. You said that, you're like, oh, well, the van ride's going to be super quiet, and they'd never put DP inmates transport with other non-DP or non-capital, you said. Same thing. So I think that's really interesting because I've heard, I'm not trying to trail off on another subject or another case, but that's the first I've heard that, because there's like this notorious case I covered, and I promise I won't go into a whole nother case, you guys, but notorious case I covered on my channel early on when I was talking about terms of motive. And it's, I don't know if you ever heard of like Kylie Jenner was kind of affiliated with this quadruple murder. I don't know if you guys knew about that, but the third person that was unalived by this guy, it was because there was this other guy, the guy that he killed he had finished his sentence and he was in this like holding, getting ready process to be let out. He'd already served his time. He was like a petty criminal. He wasn't a hardened criminal. It was like theft under $1,000. It was something, it was petty crime. Okay. And he was put in the same holding cell as this mentally ill person who had just unalived two other people brutally. And I always wondered, like, to me, again, that seems like cruel and unusual punishment. So when you're saying like they don't even transport a capital inmate with somebody else, that bothers me because I've heard this story out of California. It was such big headlines like maybe 8 years ago or something like that. I don't know. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
yeah, California is a whole nother beast. California runs itself how California wants to do it. And Arizona is a lot like California, but what they do now in protection is like Arizona and Maricopa County, they won't transport a capital, death penalty case inmate or anybody that's got murder one or higher. They actually put them in cells below the courthouse in what's called the Maricopa County tombs. And then they just walk them up to their court hearings. They no longer transport them. Now, California is a whole nother beast. I've been in California too. And let me tell you, I know Rollo, who was in chat earlier, He comes from California, and that's a whole nother world. They do their, trust me, they'll put a shoplifter in with a death penalty in it. That's just the way they do it. And Arizona used to be the same. A gentleman I knew that I've talked about before was in a cell block on a maximum security block, but they opened everybody's doors and let them hang out in the day room together. And they had a kid in there that was literally looking at less than 2 years, and it was for a burglary charge. And he's in there with burglars, and he's in there for burglary, and they ended up killing him in his cell. It's on national TV. You can pull it up and watch it. In Maricopa County. They show the whole thing. It's on camera. Then he drags him out of the cell, tries to throw him off the ledge, and then the cops come in. He just lays down, no big deal. That guy now is on death row because he's killed 4 people in jail by itself and another 3 in prison. And that's before he got it. So,
The sad thing is it's a little bit different from transporting inmates to
Yeah.
housing inmates.
Right.
Housing inmates, sadly, I don't think they're as careful as they need to be. Like you said, that they will sometimes house murderers with people just there, as they call them, passing by, or, they're not there very long. And then you have these people that are doing life sentences that don't care. They've got nothing to lose. They shouldn't be together, but they'll house them together. But transportation is different than housing.
and Jen and I were talking about them when we were coming up here. We kind of want to have on my second channel, I'm going to kind of talk about these types of things of, what these different inmates like a Bryan Kohberger or somebody that's never been in these situations would look at and endure. And I still remember I've got less than a handful of years left till I get to come home to my wife, and all of a sudden this old man gets rolled into my cell in a wheelchair. And I'm just kind of thinking to myself, oh, great, here we go. I got to get up on the top bunk. No big deal. I didn't know that guy had killed his last 3 cellmates and
my
laughed about it and thought it was the coolest thing. He was transferred from California to Arizona because they couldn't house him with anybody. And here I am, just a little guy. I'm ready to go home. I don't want any trouble. I want to go home. I have a wife. And this guy and I actually got along for the most part until he ended up, getting rolled to another yard. But it was like, this is a real kind of slap in the face when you're just trying to go home. And these guys are coming in, and I don't remember what they said he had, like 752 years times 9 or something like that. Like, it was just a read. And I'm reading this paper, we're going, why are you in the same cell with me, dude? Like, why are we together? But that's what they do. And when Bryan Kohberger goes to the penitentiary, if, let's say, they move him off of death row and he comes down and just gets life without parole, but they convict him of a quadruple homicide and he goes into the Idaho penitentiary, he'll be housed with people that are literally there for burglary. He'll be at the same yard, walking around with people that got a simple drug charge. And, he could potentially also be walking around with people that are 10 times more violent than him that just didn't get the death penalty. So these are the things you have to learn about in prison. You got to really be watching over your shoulder. And where he's fortunate right now, where he's at here in Ada County, he doesn't have to worry about that. He's got his own cell, and he is protected. Are we seeing dogs playing it? Oh, we are.
I can't help it. I mean, like, what you're saying is so intense, and I wrote down reactions, but then there's like Xander.
He's checking out the beard. He wants to make sure there's nothing in that beard. Did you find some?
If anyone has any doubts about Twiz, we all know what a good guy is. Look at Xander.
I heard a story where this guy got housed. They put in somebody into his cell, right? And the next day they moved him out, but it turned out that the guy was a pedo.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the rules, he was supposed to kill him.
Yeah.
The jailers or whatever put him in his cell on purpose, trying to get him more time.
Yeah. See, they'll do that too. So let's say, like, I was getting ready to go home, and this did happen to me. They intentionally brought an inmate into my cell that had a known green light on him, meaning any sight by anybody, you have to handle that. And you don't handle it just by like breaking his nose. You handle that to where that kid doesn't leave in one piece. Well, I didn't know. Like he wasn't even in my cell long enough for me to even know who that was. And then I get called from across the hallway as we're in closed custody. We have sliding doors with windows, and they call over to me and say, "Hey, by the way, you now green light. You didn't handle that. What are you talking about? Handle what?" And then they figured out, luckily, like I wasn't the one that would get green lighted. It all worked out. But I could have been the one leaving on a stretcher because I didn't have him leave on a stretcher. So it's scary. It's a scary world.
You know, so like hearing all this, you know, it's clearly setting people up for failure, but so
They do it
it sounds
intentionally. They do it intentionally.
so the policies for housing are completely blind to the degree of criminal in all jails, or is this like you had said something like, oh well, that's California, and I was actually hoping Rolo was still in my chat. I don't know what happened, but Rolo, I can see all of your comments. But I was actually hoping Rolo was in the chat. So is it California that is really doing that, or is this a problem everywhere? I mean, obviously you were just talking about Arizona.
Well,
I don't know if that was a special situation because you were such a high, you know,
right.
you were at such
Every
a high level.
jail, general population has a mixture of degree levels of criminals in them. You're going to have murderers mixed with shoplifters, mixed with anything and everything. Prison is different. They have a full out classification level in the penitentiary. Now, jails do have classification levels, but they're not always utilized appropriately. So it doesn't matter what state or where you're at. Every jail I've been in, whether I was in there for just basic burglary, I shouldn't say basic because it's not basic. I mean, it's a crime. It's a felony. It's literally a felony free, which carries the weight as a first timer. If you were sent to prison, you get 4.5 years. But at every time I was housed with many people that were first degree burglars. The only thing we were never housed with were people with egregious crimes against children or sexual assault or something of that nature. I know
Darren,
everybody laughs.
what were you gonna say?
No, everybody was laughing basic burglary, and I know it sounds stupid, but literally, I mean, you do have to think some crimes are on a much lower level. Burglary can mean I just kicked in a door. I kicked in a door one time of my own apartment and knocked the security camera off the wall, and that was a burglary charge of my own apartment because I had a roommate at the time. So they charged me with burglary. I threw the security camera out the front door. That's deemed a burglary.
Who was it? Like, did the roommate press charges on you? Like, how did?
The police.
The landlord.
The police. The police can bring charges against you if a crime has been committed, and the police deem a crime has been committed. They can file the affidavit and arrest you. Now it's when you go to court. Now all the finagling in the court has to happen, and the lawyering and all of that, which I actually lost that case, and I got 3.5 years for it because it actually is by law of Arizona. Because I had a roommate, I kicked in the door, and I knocked the camera out of the doorway, which means a possession of the home, left the home, and that's burglary. It's crazy.
But you have to have a person willing to prosecute that. That's like
Yeah, and the
3
roommate.
years in your own apartment.
Yeah, but thankfully, I mean that got tied into other charges, so it just got ran, kind of concurrently with all my other charges. But it's still a charge on my record. It's stupid, but that's why people ask about the burglary charge for Bryan Kohberger with what they're charging him. He committed a crime in somebody else's home. and he was not welcome to enter that home, which means
Beanie, right?
so. I mean, it sucks. It really.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Let's use the word. Look, Twiz is here with me. I got to use the appropriate wording for Twiz.
Wait, what did you say wrong? What did we say wrong?
Allegedly, he allegedly committed burglary, entered the home, and he's right because it is innocent until proven guilty. So, you know, we're going to see. It's going to be interesting. I did see somebody in the comments earlier with a question swap that I wanted to answer. Yeah, we're going to have to be at the courtroom bright and early. There's been a humming around this this hearing. There's going to be a packed house. That there's going to be a large, amount of people that will be attending, but also the courthouse is sifting through. They made some people that had to email the court and wait for a response of whether they were going to be able to attend. Some of us already had pre-approved attendance, but now they may not honor that. It may. So there's a lot that's going into this, but I will be down in front of that courthouse probably by 4:35 a.m. So we'll be there. We'll be there.
Good thing I am about it all.
What did you say to us?
It's probably not repeatable.
It's prescription. It's fine.
Yeah,
Wrong.
yeah.
And you brought a bunch of energy drinks.
Thankfully, I've got a wife that will just smack me if I get out of whack. And I know, Kate, you're asking me to take some video out the window. I'll have to do. I have like a weird webcam on a laptop, and I have no idea how to move it around and show the night sky. But I'll definitely do that for you, my friend. I'll definitely do that.
What'd be interesting is if if you have time. Oh, before I ask this question, are you planning on doing like walking up to people on the street with the dogs, like you were saying, and like asking them their opinions?
Yeah, we have an amazing where we're staying. We're right across the street from an amazing park that's got a lot of dogs running around. There's a lot of locals right here. We're near some really good restaurants, and we're gonna get, like I said, we are 100% gonna touch base and get the temperature of Boise and what their thoughts are, what they may know, what they may think, and we're gonna allow it to do it their way, not our way.
And earlier today, we had Judge Xander and Judge Bayou on a little video
Oh yeah.
in their little outfits. If anyone wants to check that out.
So she wants to walk the dogs around in the judges' outfits and see if anybody will correlate to Bryan Kohberger as Judge Xander and Judge Bayou are ready to rule.
Did you bring the Chucky?
I didn't bring the Chucky outfit. No, I have little sombreros, and then I have the judge robes, and I have the Chucky hair that I put on him.
You
But
see how this gets on the hands swap? You see how this gets led right out there?
We were talking about has been alleged to have committed, which one of them was when he was like 4 years old. So I
Right.
actually made the joke that he was a Chucky.
Yeah.
It's like a Chucky doll back then, so it would have been funny.
So everybody, just so you know, you can never get a live any better than this one. You've got to join Miss Swamp Rose, A.R. Hayes, Twizzle Stick, Pennies Go Stripping. What a combination for the Bryan Kohberger hearing in Boise, Idaho, and I'm sure we're all going to get banned and never welcome back.
When you're talking to the people on the street, I'd be really interested to know like how they felt. Like it'd be interesting. They could like draw comparisons to the Daybell trial, like, because we know Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, those two of the most high-profile murder cases in the world were just held in the same courtroom, which is ironic when you think about like the fact that there are just places in this world where energy ascends. Like how crazy is that? But they have like a baseline to compare it to. It'd be really interesting to get the word on the street and just, ask them like, how did the town change with that? How is it comparing to now? It, like just the temperature of the, the people there.
I actually hope that the people locally haven't really heard very much about it, because I want an unbiased jury pool. So the more have heard about it could actually cause bias with them picking a side or something. It's better if they didn't hear about it, then you can actually get a true unbiased jury pool.
Yeah, but I also want to know how many people have heard about it. And I just want them, and if I could get some people that are willing to actually do a little bit of a live interview with me, to where I could ask them questions like, tell me a little bit about how, the Daybell feel here in Boise was during that trial. Let me know what you think of Lori Vallow. And then, leading to that, what major cases do you know of right now happening in the area? And of course, if they bring up Bryan Kohberger, I want to say, what's your feel of that? Like, where do you get your information? And what do you feel about the people that are providing you that information? Is it creditable? Is it not creditable in your mind? Do you feel like there's, something wrong with what you're hearing? But I want to do it in a way that I wish, like, I can understand the Gonzalez family wanted to go out and get answers and get the feel of what people are saying about the case, but you want to allow them to speak for themselves and then take that information yourselves and relay it to who you feel like you need to relay it to. You shouldn't try to impose your will to change that person's feelings. Like, I'm not going to talk to somebody that's sharing their feelings with me and try to debate them to feel a different way. I want to acknowledge the way that they feel, give them credit for sharing that, and then, just kind of bank that, and I can bring it back to, everybody here away from them and be able to share exactly what that temperature feels like in the area.
It'd be an interesting question too, because obviously the people who are local there's going to be people following just like you said at the beginning of all of this, there are people there following this case just as closely as we are who are local, and because it's a local case. And I don't know, it'd just be interesting to know with all these new documents, because the intention was to like show more of the case, like, has that affected how people feel? Like, what do they think of the new documents, the 911 call, the text messages, the things that we are like constantly discussing and debating in our live streams? I wonder, like, do they have the same instinctive, I mean, they must, but, do they have the same inclinations that we do? How do they feel about their law enforcement? Your law enforcement it's your neighbor, it's your neighbor. So like, how do they feel about the police department? It's just,
What
it'll
I
be
would
really
like to
interesting.
hear about, Kiki, is the Idaho State Police. Because the Boise Police Department, sure, I'd love to hear how they feel about it, but they weren't involved in the Bryan Kohberger case. But Idaho State Police is definitely patrolling here. Trust me, we saw them. And I'd like to know kind of the feel that they have towards them, the Idaho State Police. What's your belief in your state, your agencies and your court system? But, and to kind of answer your question a little bit, and my question too, is I was like, how many people here locally are going to know? And when I said it shocked me, how many people reached out to me, it even shocks me more that they've watched and liked my work, your work, and there's work on YouTube, and they are fans of ours and wanting to meet me and go out to dinner and shake hands and introduce me to their husband or their wife. And it's like, that shows me we literally do get our voices heard with the things that we're doing and what we're saying and what we're going over, because these people would not be reaching out to someone like myself to go have dinner or lunch if they, if it wasn't registering to them what we're doing. So that's kind
That's
of
so
cool.
flattering.
Especially for anybody, obviously it is, because that's why we do what we do. That's why we're on YouTube, and we try to get our voice heard, and we put out the content that we do. But, for someone like myself that has felt judged before, or even that I needed to keep my mouth a little bit quieter because I didn't want to be heard. I didn't want people to even really acknowledge me or recognize me. I wanted to stay behind the scenes. And it actually feels kind of cool that I could step out of that shell a little bit to somebody that's willing to stick their hand out, shake my hand, and say, "Great job on what you're doing. Keep up the good work. We appreciate it." And I'm like, well, damn, now I'm going to go hide even more.
I actually, I mean, I actually am surprised. I guess if there was a internationally, recognized crime case around me, I guess I would know all the players who cover it. But it does make a difference to hear that they're not just like listening to, Law and Crime and News Nation. They're actually listening to the other people, because we spend so much time digging and so much time going over every lead and chasing down stories. And I don't know, it's just very flattering to know that people within Boise are tuning in to see what we have to say, not just, our true crime community or the people that we've met and subscribed to over the years. It's really interesting. It's really flattering.
I mean, it's really cool too, because Jen and I on the trek up here, as you know, we stopped in Salt Lake City for the night. And literally, I had people reaching out to me from the Salt Lake area that acknowledged our work and the work that we've really worked hard to do, and given me places to eat in the city, places to go venture over to see, just really amazing and gracious to even lend me any type of, help to get around the area and wishing us well. I mean, that's really cool to me that it's not even just in Boise, Idaho, where we venture up to, but it's along the road of getting here. Now, my friend the Beaver, I don't know if you saw the picture of me and the Beaver that I got to meet. He was a cool hangout, let me tell you. A little ugly, but a cool dude.
I thought you were saying Bieber at first. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
But yes,
Beaver.
you did.
You
I
didn't
was
see
like,
my post of the Beaver?
no, I did. I know. Well, you also texted me the picture.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I think my favorite journey to Boise photo that I saw from AR and Jen was snow in the desert. I've only been to the desert once in my lifetime, and it kicked my ass. But it's just a pretty amazing phenomenon to see, and like a once in a lifetime thing. So it was really interesting looking at your pictures on the way to Salt Lake City, which I've also heard is one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
It's beautiful. I have to admit, the area that Jen and I chose to stay in, we won't be back. But we experienced it, we survived it, and we quickly hit the highway a couple hours earlier, and we wanted to get out of it. But it's we returned to.
I drove through Salt Lake at night, so
No, Salt Lake itself is beautiful, but Murray, that's a different story.
Just happened to pick a hotel that was a little bit in the ghetto, but the town itself is nice. The section we picked, sadly, was
You can't pick a better place to stay in Utah, in Salt Lake, than an Oriental massage parlor with 3 sheriffs sitting out in front of it, in between 2 smoke shops and 2 tattoo shops. This is the place you gotta be. Let me tell you. I mean, and literally we pulled into the sheriffs in the parking lot. I'm shaking my head looking at Jen going, am I set up? Did somebody set me up right now?
should have used them. He did a good job.
We got an illegal massage room. We got smoke shops. And you wanted to stay here. Well, hold on about this. But the area we're in Boise, and we'll venture around a little bit more tomorrow, is we do like it. It's very, very nice. It's very cozy. It's very green. A lot of nice trees. So it's got a very homey feel to it. And so far, like we went to Wendy's real quick to grab some food, and the young lady running the drive-through happened to be one of the nicest young ladies I probably bumped into in years. Just happy, so nice, so great. I mean, I was like, "Are you for real? Like, where are we?" I don't know what's going on, but we even gave her big props when we were going through the drive-through, just to let her know how, amazing her personality was and how thankful we were for the niceness she displayed to us. So,
What's that?
and,
I'm starving.
and Jen says she's starving.
You guys haven't eaten yet?
Swift was laughing at us because we went to Wendy's earlier. He's like, and there's Freddy's here. I'm like, why don't we should just all go eat now? No, we haven't eaten dinner yet.
And
Oh, I miss fast food. I haven't had fast food.
The hearing and Freddy's. It's great.
you cook a lot, right?
What?
You cook a lot.
I
Like
what?
you don't eat fast food. You cook.
Well, I don't know. So anyone who has ever lived in Cape Cod can attest to this. When you hit outer Cape Cod, there are no fast food restaurants. There is a Wendy's, but and please, Wendy's, don't come after me. I don't eat there anymore. Like I only would get the baked potato with like cheese and I
Yeah.
just no.
I used to like their baked potatoes a lot. I don't like fast food much. I can't. My body doesn't handle it very well at all.
I don't even have the
So I just
option.
choose not to eat. Well, I just don't eat. But
Burger King used to have like before they had Beyond, and I'm just going to tell you my fast food feelings for a second. Burger King, before they had Beyond Burgers, Burger King used to have the Morningstar veggie burgers, and it was like heaven. Like they had they also used to have really good French fries, which they changed a while ago, but that's another story. Anyway, does anyone know what I'm talking about? Like Burger King used to have these amazing Morningstar veggie burgers. Everyone would go, we'd all pull into Burger King. I'd get the Morningstar veggie burger with cheese, just like, it was delicious. And then they changed these Beyond Burgers and they're not my favorite. That's all I had to say. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna eat a veggie burger. What the hell would I eat a veggie burger for? What am I gonna get out of a veggie? Bread? Like you get bread with it, right? Do you get bread with a veggie burger?
Cheese on for
Yeah.
I mean, what you get out of that? But
Oh,
you
see,
just don't eat.
Ida knows. She says, oh, yes, those Morningstar burgers were awesome. I still buy them sometimes at the grocery store. They're really good if you grill them. Yes, I still buy Morningstar. I only once in a while. I mean, it's still processed food, but it's a good alternative and it still has a lot of protein in it. And there are other
Angel D is saying you have the munchies, and I gotta say, I think two people sitting in the room with it's like I'm stuck in the middle of everybody that's hungry.
Are you guys trying to leave? Are you guys trying to leave me to go get dinner? Is that what's going on right now?
I think they may. I think they may be wanting to go get food. I hate to say it, but what time?
All right.
It's
9:00.
Yeah. I probably should.
You have to get up early.
I gotta get up really early too. So
Okay.
everybody tomorrow morning it'll be about that time that you like the most. Remember that 8 o'clock time slot
Yeah.
you really liked? So
Yeah.
I probably will be getting to the courthouse by about 5 a.m. and I may go live at that time.
We totally should.
So and Twiz thinks we should go live that early too. We'll control the early morning wavelengths of the YouTube streets.
All people are moving.
Yeah, the people in England who watch us. What do you think?
So no, somebody Beckles was asking in the chat. So I'm on New York time. So 8 a.m. New York time, and then it's like 4 a.m. Boise time.
Yeah, we're
5 a.m. Boise time.
we're 2 hours behind you right now. See, Las Vegas is 3 hours behind you. Here, we're only 2 hours behind you. So if I go live at let's say 5:30, it'd be 7:30 your time. If I go live at 6 a.m., it would be 8 your time. So I probably won't go live right at 5 a.m. because I am not gonna be the nicest individual right away till I get a cup of coffee in me. So probably 6 a.m. ish here, 8 a.m. ish your time.
All right. Well, don't worry. I'll be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for you. I'm better in the morning, actually. except first thing in the morning. Don't talk to me for at least an hour.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna go live right away. I mean, that's just not gonna happen. But, um, I'm gonna get a little coffee in me in the morning, a little bit of breakfast, and then I'll go live right in front of the courthouse. And you know what? If I can get there early enough, as I showed you guys in the video, and if you want to go back and watch that again, I'm going to try to catch Bryan Kohberger coming into the court. Like, I'm going to try to catch his van coming in to where he'll go down underneath. I won't be able to get close to it. Like, I'm not going to be able to go up and knock on the window and everybody gets to say hi to Bryan Kohberger or anything like that. But I can get near the area where they'll drive. And I'll see if I can catch that.
Thank you for doing this. And I mean, already the footage that you have, even though, it's in the window of the car, like having that footage of the entire Boise prison is something I didn't have. Like when Brian Ensign went out there, which is the footage that I typically refer to, he just did the courthouse and then they had one single shot that kind of showed a connecting corridor between two buildings. And now that I look at it, it's almost like there's 8 different buildings like that size, which I didn't see before. And like you said, it is a really nice city. Like the outside of the jail looks like any other public building, other than a few places with Bob Dwyer. Anyway, what I'm getting at is you've already given us creators enough B-roll footage. We could crop right out that window that we are so grateful that you're bringing us this exclusive footage, but to get more.
Actually, I'm going to do better. I'm going to get feet on the ground at the jail and I'll walk the curb line as close as I feel comfortable getting to where I can show you literally how big that jail actually is. It goes way back, people. It's not just this little line of building. It goes way back. It is a big complex. And I want to get down and actually do it on my feet to where you guys aren't dealing with a moving car. I'll walk it and I want to walk around the courthouse area as well. So I'm going to try to do better on the footage and that way everybody can get to see it firsthand how big these places actually are.
Yeah, I saw something in the chat, not to change the subject, but I just want to bring this up really quickly. So AR and I, obviously, our channels and we encourage you to visit both of our channels and sub up, but also Jen is a creator. Somebody just mentioned they subbed to Jen in the chat. It's Pities Go Stripping, and Twiz is a creator. It's Twizzle Stick. What is it?
8120.
8120. So please also sub to Jen and Twiz. So Jen does Pities Go Stripping, but she is obviously being part of this exclusive trip and coverage. She's going to start her own Idaho 4 coverage. So please make sure to visit their channels and and you'll get this unique coverage.
And thank you, Kenny, very much for becoming a new member. And yeah, to reiterate what you're kind of saying there, Swamp, it really means a lot to me that people, really enjoy Jen. She has a great mind. She has a great voice. And I think it's really cool for her to be able to express herself as well. And I've had to learn, like I used to overtalk Jen when it came to this case, almost as if I knew more than she did or something. And now that I've become more of a listener, I realize she has some very valuable points and very cool things to say. So I definitely myself am even opening my ears, and I appreciate everybody else that has welcomed that as well, because it is cool to have a view from her. And you guys have to realize her background and her experiences are far different than mine, even though we were intertwined during them. She was enduring from the good side of things, the one that was not a troublemaker and not in trouble, have to deal with someone like myself that constantly was. And she gives a different perspective for sure.
It's going to be very interesting hearing Jen's perspective, because aside from talking about seeing Brian, his team, the prosecution, the victims, we're going to be seeing Bryan Kohberger's family. And that's going to be an interesting tone. All the rumors that we've heard, all the speculation about witnesses and, tips and testifying. And it's going to be just really interesting to get the temperature read on them, particularly from Jen's point of view, because Jen has been in those shoes before. She has a baseline to compare that kind of thing to. And yeah, I mean, it's unique and special coverage, and we're really grateful and appreciative for it. Thank you.
We agree. We're going to see how busy that courtroom is tomorrow. It could be chaos. From what it sounds like, there's going to be a lot of people here, you know, and it's going to be interesting to look across the courtroom and look and see who's looking our way. I've heard rumors JLR could possibly be here. We know the Gonzalez family is going to be here. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see the mixture and the different voices that'll be here.
Official makes a good comment saying it at least it's a humbling experience, because it is a humbling experience, you know.
It is. It
It
very
really-
much is. They're yelling at me. It's time to
Okay.
get some dinner, Swamp. So we definitely appreciate you tonight. Yeah, we gotta get over there and get some food.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
We'll talk tomorrow.
we definitely appreciate you, Swamp. I'll send you a message, and then tomorrow will be a big day.
Sounds
big
great.
day.
I'll see everybody in the morning. Twiz, it was nice live stream with you. Jen, it was nice doing my first live with you too. And have a good dinner. And chat, I love you guys. Viewers, we love you. Thank you to my mods. Thank you to my chat for keeping we could feel your energy. Thank you. And yeah, we appreciate you. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.